Hello, YouTubers and all those out there. I hope you're all doing quite well. So this right here is a topic that I think I might be a little bit controversial, but hey, whatever. I'm used to that type of shit when it comes to most conversations or opinions or based opinions on if anything. So anyway, let's go right into the pulled back punches of this said thing. Now, the introduction of this is, of course, owning your own software. Now, owning your own software can be various different things. Like, you can own it digitally, you can own a physical copy to install it on your computer and play like that. Now, back in the day, or in the heyday, I remember how you used to be able to just, put a game on a floppy disk and play it like that, then execute it through DOS prompt, blah, 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 install it manually through all that, which I don't know why, but I always thought that was a satisfying process, but growing up now, I've grown a lot more lazy, I guess, to be the term, so it's sort of like I like these modern conveniences more than I did back then. I don't know what it is. It was just sort of that accomplishments of achieving something while trying to execute these said items. Now, when it comes to physical media, such as a PlayStation 1 game or a Super Nintendo game or, whatever, it's always great to be able to pop those into a console and just play it. I think that's fantastic. At the same time, more modern releases, I'm kind of more prone, at least at the PC side, to just simply buy a physical copy of the said games because the value net worth of each game that comes out for PC nowadays isn't necessarily as high as I would want them to be. So the only thing you're doing is buying a overglorified DVD case with a serial code in it and a disc that just has a software on it that, links you to fucking Steam. So it's, again, something that I kind of look at and go, okay, the modern convenience here is that sure, I punched in the code, and now I think I can do is easily access this said game from a archived server somewhere and be able to download it and play at my heart's content. At least up until how many downloads, if it's that kind of thing. So, again, it sort of plays into that scenario here that modern convenience is usually pretty good until a few shitty things pop up like the bad DRM or whatever else. Personally, I am more for, when it comes to older gen stuff, I like to personally have the software in my hand and just to be able to execute it that way. Most games, like older ones, such as like PC games, some of the boxes are really fucking huge. So it wouldn't be as easy to collect for those, even though they do look awesome, these said old school boxes. It's a lot nicer the fact that most of these these companies, should I say, who are third party or whatever else, produce software that executes these said games in an easy fashion, so it's easier for me just to simply play the damn game. I had a little bit of trouble back in the heyday to do so in the first place. Sure, I mean, most Windows 10 computers have issues running some of these older games through these DOS box executables, but hey, whatever. I mean, it's sort of like I have Windows 7, so Windows 10 issues don't really fucking bother me right now. And it might be even smoothed out by the future times to come if it hasn't already. So, it plays into that whole scenario that, I like just pretty much play video games. That's just how it is, I'm not too particular unless it's certain aspects of the said generations of consoles. Now, when it comes to older PC games, again, as I said, don't get me wrong, I like myself a nice box cover art, I love it, but at the same time, there's way too much space that I don't have that would have to be required for those said games. I mean, sure, those jewel cases or compact disc cases for these said games, but, if I personally knew, or physically, mentally, and spiritually knew, if I was even religious by the spiritual part, then I would basically be sitting here going, well, fuck me running. I got no space for half these PC games, but at least I have them in physical form. It's sort of like that sacrifice I had to make. I don't like necessarily collecting older games off digital most of the time, because, I knew some of the box art was cool, but at the same time, I have to accept it and just learn to deal with it. So over time, it was a bias that I just said, you know what? Fuck it. I'll get it digital. If it have it digital, like on GOG.com, I'll get it that way. And so therefore I do. And life was good. So basically, I purchased those said games as such now, and it feels a lot better, especially on my shelves, because I barely got any room for those type of games anymore anyway, unfortunately. So with that being said, I've been starting to buy a lot more DVD shelves. You know, like those cheap $20 ones, like are made out of wood or whatever else, or made out of, I'm not going to say bronze or whatever, but steel. Yeah, well, they are steel. Yeah, they are steel. But, you know, being able to just simply buy a DVD case, which is a lot fraction less sized wise to what I had to get back then, like these big old bookshelves for these said games or these older games, which is uncanny. It was ridiculous because, you know, again, they look awesome, said the artwork, but it's not anything that's practical nowadays, especially for the size of the confinement I live in. But anyway, I mean, as far as owning your own software, owning your own games, I believe in that too, personally. At the same time, when it comes to digital games, I think of it like this. You know, I paid all this money for these games anyway, and it's almost the same parallel effect that if I own a game, I'm barely going to play it past the prime of me wanting to nostalgically dive into it. So therefore, owning it digitally, especially on a website like GOG.com, I'm not necessarily as worried because I can easily back up said games off a hard drive somewhere, and they would last almost forever until that server, drive explodes or whatever else. But then, of course, you just have simply many copies of that said game, or put it on a cloud. I mean, Google has so many clouds nowadays, you could just upload it up on there on someone else's server. Hooray! Clap, clap. But anyway, what do you guys think of this said subject? Take it easy, different nipples. See you later.